Well, it is a good morning and hello to Ben from the Shires, who is nominated along with Chrissy for a band or duo of the year at the 2021 BCMA Awards held in London in November. How are you doing, Ben?
Good, thanks, Paul. How are you?
I'm going great. Thanks for coming on. I know you're right in the middle of a tour at the moment. I know Chris is laying up a little bit, just resting because you've really gone at it, haven't you, since the easing of lockdown?
Yeah, and sort of getting those touring legs back on is very, very strange, if I'm honest. Yeah, as most of us musicians who've had that sort of 18 months off, and then yeah, to be thrown back into it. And also we're doing this kind of intimate acoustic tour, so it's not on a big bus or anything. We're back in a splitter, and we're mucking in, helping load the gear, and it's sort of back to day one in a way. So it's it's great though. It's just amazing to be out in front of everybody and playing a lot of regional places that we haven't played for a long time. Because we wanted to give a different experience to the big tour that we're going to do and we normally do in
Yeah.
May. So yeah, it's been amazing. But yeah, literally we got in last night about 2 a.m. So yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's just for me. I've got two young kids, so it's like they were on waking me up at like 6 a.m. this morning. It was all a bit of a blur. So yeah, but it's great. Like I say, great
Coffee.
to be back. Coffee, yeah, loads of coffee.
Intravenously fed. But yeah, I mean, doing gigs are great, but it's the actual closing of the motorways that cause the issues, I find at the moment. During lockdown, they could have had all the time to do these roadworks. And we thought, no, let's wait until they've eased the lockdown, and then we'll throw every bollard there is under the sun on the road. But I've been getting some great feedback on the acoustic, and obviously a friend of the show here, Kezia Gill, supporting on some of them as well. And the amount of outpouring of gratitude to see you guys has been amazing on Facebook.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, Kezia, firstly, we kind of handpicked her because we love what she's doing. Bob
Oh yeah,
Harris is a big fan at Radio 2 as well. But yeah, she's one of the artists I think that has a real chance to kind of break through. And it's nice on a tour to have a support that you're really excited about
oh yeah.
because and you can tell we've been lucky most of our tours, probably one or two that haven't gone down that well in terms of supports, but Kezia already is just people love her. I'm just sure lots of people know her on the scene, but a lot of kind of casual country fans who kind of just like the Shires, they're queuing for ages to meet her, in between the sets, after her set and before ours. It's a bit worrying sometimes. You're like, yeah, Kezia's great, but
We're
some
on.
people
Come
come
on,
back
we're
in.
on.
Yeah. But no, it is really great to have her on board. And like you say, the show's been going so well. And, it's interesting. I think some people are still quite nervous about playing. Like we went to Snape Maltings in Suffolk near Ipswich, is a beautiful venue.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were wearing masks in the audience. And then I think, halfway through the shows, like a lot of those masks were ripped off and people were singing along. And I think, that's the kind of world we live in now. It's sort of, we take that calculated risk, sort of most people I'm sure would do tests before they go. And it's like, do you know what? Like things like music and the arts and film and theatre, they do actually have a real importance. They are tangible and it's real. I'm not going to say we're as important as key workers, but it's kind of like I felt like over the last 18 months, it was like, what's the point if we're not having a laugh? Do you know what I mean? We've got to have fun. We have to have an outlet and that community spirit, especially at shows.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite interesting on Sunday just gone. I decided, me and my future son-in-law decided to go to the NFL game in Tottenham,
Oh,
and there was
wow.
like nearly 70,000 people there, and it was like crazy. I'm thinking, if we're going to get COVID, we're going to get it now, because it was just, you know, but like fingers crossed. But yeah, and again, I think, and this is something that I've mentioned to some of the other artists, or they've mentioned to me, that they found that during lockdown, there's this new tenacity building up in them as well, that any new music, they've thrown the kitchen sink at it, both production wise, writing wise, and then out, obviously going out and actually performing wise. And I don't know about you, but I think UK country has gone from here to about here in a matter of months.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I mean, it's been a perfect storm in a way. As awful as the pandemic's been, I mean, a lot of the streaming services are giving support to UK country artists now as well. So,
Yeah.
kind of seeing people like Emma and Jolie getting really supported on the Apple playlists, Gary Quinn on there as well, Kezia, being supported at Radio 2 as well. I think that, that it has been a blessing in disguise. And you're right, people have had to focus mainly on just making music, playing live is all very well. It's the big cherry on the cake. We love it. But the most important thing in any genre, but particularly country, is the songs. You've got to really work on the songs and take the time. And it's I know it's hard. When we first started, I had to balance having a day job, and trying to fit in. And I think maybe that time people had, if they were furloughed, or just that time to reflect in general, maybe give people more time to write and get into production a bit more. And I've definitely, like you say, noticed the level, quality wise, jump up massively.
I know I've been fortunate this year for the first time because I like to Buckle and Boots, the British Country Music Festival in Blackpool. And I've just noticed, firsthand how the level of English talent is out there, where, like yourselves have been like the shining light and the leading flame for a number of years now. And obviously been supported by Radio 2, going over to Nashville and doing your thing. And I think everybody's seen that trailblazing of you guys, and followed suit, And I think this year, next year's C2C is going to be like unbelievable, isn't it? It's going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, it's our Glastonbury. It's the one thing I look forward to every year. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I've been waiting for a long time for another UK act to really break through, and I don't think it's going to be long. I mean, it's a different world to the world we started in. When we started together, we got a record deal, and I won't say it was easy. I just think the labels were more open to the idea of investing in a UK country act. And now with the way things are with streaming, I think it is a lot harder, and you've got to do a lot of the steps yourself now. And and someone like Kezia, I see her, on tour with us, and she's doing everything. And there's a lot of the UK artists are as well. But yeah, you're right. I think there's definitely a bit more of like a platform for UK artists. Like you talk about Buckle and Boots, we played it for the first time this year, and it's inverted commas a small festival, and you've still got 2,500-3,000 people there.
It was
absolutely loving it. It was incredible, and that was our first show back, and it was. It's a very exciting time, definitely. I really hope that we, in the next sort of year or so, can have another artist really truly breaking through from the UK country scene.
I think so. Like I said, there's and I've said this and quite rightly, on the BCMA Awards, the nominees, I think in every category, in every nominee, is a worthy winner. There's no dead rubbers in there, to want of a better phrase. There's nobody been put in there to say we've got to put them in. Every one of them have done their bit doing live streams and keeping everybody's motivation going and keeping them in the spotlight. But I think listening to everybody's music, and I was watching as many streams as I can, each one is a worthy winner.
Definitely, and fair play to everyone who did that, artist-wise, because it's tough, to keep that, energy going. If you're doing those live, or people were doing those live streams, and maybe you're getting 10 viewers, or maybe you're getting 1,000, maybe 100, whatever. But it's that's the thing you've always got to try and remember, is to try and keep that faith. And it only takes one person at a live stream or a show or anywhere in the street, like that's how it started for us. Someone spotted us at a show, and there were only 20 people at that show. And had we never done that or never put everything into it, we never would have met our manager, and that started us off on our journey, really. So yeah, it's that kind of DIY thing, especially over the last 18 months, it's been really important. But also just keeping that energy and that hope alive. And people for so long, there were dark days when there was no vaccine on the horizon. I remember feeling like it may be 3, 4, 5 years away. It's how I felt at the time. There was definitely a point when there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And there were artists, I think a lot of artists jumped on the bandwagon and did the live stream, but the ones that carried it on and kept on going and are still doing it now,
Absolutely.
I think You know, hats off to them. And I like you say, I think you look at the nominees in the BCMA categories, and you can see the ones that probably put the most effort in over the last however long are the ones that, you know, are probably connecting with people the most.
Yeah, I think you're quite right. And like I was saying about throwing the kitchen sink, I've heard, like even yesterday, the Cold Town Daisies that I interviewed, they've made a studio in the home and threw everything in there and kitted it out right, you know, soundproofed it and did a lot of work there because they couldn't go to a studio, you know. And I think that is repetitive right through the country, like you said, you know. But I mean, I couldn't do the live streams. People were saying to me, why don't you do live streams? I said, no, I like the audience, unless I get sort of a load of mannequins and then do some kind of sound sample of applause or something like that. You know, one American said, oh, I'm going to take that idea, actually. That's a good idea. I think it was Ali Colleen. And she said, oh, I'm going to use that, you know, because she was like me, bouncing off the audience. But I think it's great doing, like you've said, you've done, and again, here's a question for you. Your first gig back, how rusty was it? How, when you come off the stage at the end, you said to Chrissy, wow, we did a few mistakes there, and you know, all that kind of thing. We need to up our level a bit. You know, did that happen, or was you just polished professionals?
I don't think we were rusty in the sense we got stuff wrong. I mean, you look at, you know, one of our songs like Nashville Grey Skies, for example, and I think, you know, I think we've literally played that over 1,000 times or close to 1,000 times. So, you know, I could probably play that song with earplugs in, you know, and headphones on with music sort of, and I still play it perfectly. So, but it was more the adrenaline, you know, sort of going on and getting used to adrenaline again, because it's one of the big kind of things that we don't talk about, I think, or understand. A lot of people who don't get up on that stage, you know, don't understand that. You know, it's like a rush. It's an absolute rush, and you know, managing that when you're on stage, because you do need that adrenaline. You know, you need to have that to carry you through, and that was the biggest shock. Getting on stage at Buckle and Boots, that was our first proper show. We did do a live stream for a company called Stable, or with a company called Stable, and we didn't have anyone applauding, like you said. It was very strange, and they did it really well. But you sort of finished the song, and it was just like, okay, now it's the next song. But yeah, no, Buckle and Boots, that adrenaline thing was just absolutely incredible. But even then, there was like the moments just before we went on stage. I say rusty, like Chrissy. She got her dress out of her bag, and one of her cats had weed on the sleeve of her dress before she left. Okay. And so like that was a very kind of grounding moment before you go on stage. You're just like, does this smell of cat wee? And I was like, yeah, it really does actually, Chrissy. So that definitely brought us back into the moment a bit, definitely.
I was going to say, is it a regional good luck charm or something? No,
yeah, just get the cat to do it every time now. No, it really smelled, no.
I know I missed the Butland bit because I had the weekend pass with the BCMA, but my daughter, my daughter got married on the Friday.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
And I was like, can you not move this date? And she said, no. You know, but I managed to get on the Sunday, because the Saturday I was like this, you know, I couldn't move.
Of course.
But as I said, I'd saw like some Morgan Way and Alan Finlan and all those great people. And like I said, it just said, I'm here next year, definitely, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it was just one of those. And then obviously the British Country Music Festival in Blackpool. What a venue that is, by the way. Wow, you know, I know the CMA, the C2C is brilliant, but I do love the Winter Gardens, the way they had it set up, and it was a really good event. That
Well, I haven't been there. I'd love to go. Actually, I haven't actually been there. So
awesome. So I mean, obviously, with you're back on tour tomorrow. Is it Oxford? Is it?
Tomorrow Norwich. We are going to Norwich. Yeah.
So yeah, I was actually there when you were on about Ipswich before. This time last week, I was over that way, Lowestoft, Ipswich, Norwich, doing some work, and I got home at like 11:30 after 7:30 in the morning, trying to get a train home. That was a bit of a nightmare in the flatlands, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, East Anglia is definitely a bit of a mission to get to sometimes. Yeah.
It's like, we're not getting home at 2:00, love. No, Chrissy, no, just get your head down. It's going to be 5. But you're back on there, and obviously got the album as well, you know, The Good Years, and which is going phenomenally well. And we'll play some songs off that after the interview as well. But what's happening around the corner? I mean, I know we've got the great tour carrying on. There's going to be a pause in the winter and then hit back round about May time. Is that April, May?
Kind of. We've got we've made a whole album over lockdown. We did it remotely with our producer Lindsay. So we did a lot of the vocals in here, which is my writing room in the garden, and and then a lot of the, I've done production over the years, but I really honed in during lockdown, and a lot of the parts from the demos became the basis of the record. And so Lindsay, our producer, took all those parts. Got a mandolin player called Ilya Toshinsky, who's like one of the pretty much the best in Nashville. So he just added some stuff and some guitars, and then it felt like an unachievable task, because our A&R guy said, look, we want to have another record out for March 2022 for Country to Country, and you have to deliver it in the next 8 weeks because there was a vinyl shortage and you just had to get it done. And we had enough songs at that point because I'd written so much over lockdown, but the idea of making a whole record remotely within that time frame, the 8 weeks, just seemed crazy. But we all pulled it out of the bag, and so that's going to be ready to go. So we've got this acoustic tour wrapping up, and then we've got actually a run of dates in January now because the acoustic tour's been so successful.
Wow.
We've been asked back to a few different venues. So we're playing Milton Keynes, I think, doing the Stables there. Poplington, which is one of our first ever shows we played, doing that again, and also we're going back to Stroud and somewhere else I can't remember right now. So that's going to be January, and then Country to Country with the album in March, and then the big tour in April, May. So it's shaping up to be pretty busy, which is exciting. It's been a while.
And are you down at the BCMA Awards? Are you coming down?
Hopefully, I'd love to. I mean, the last one I went to was in Heathrow, so a while back. I think there was
the Steve Concord Suite. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So I'd love to come. It's just it's just with schedules, but I really hope I can be there because it's we play so many artists. We've got a show on Apple Radio, Chrissy and I, and we play loads of the UK artists. So it'd be lovely to meet a lot of them at the BCMAs, definitely.
Yeah, no, and congrats on the Absolute Radio show as well. I was listening intently on Sunday, traveling to the game, and I thought to myself, I'm going to have to be on my metal here because we've got a pro radio broadcaster. But no, it was a great show, and I like the information as well, because sometimes you listen to a show and it says, and here is a song by Cody Johnson, but then you do a description of like what how Cody's got to hear. And that kind of thing. So that you're a muso, that you're very knowledgeable. You're not just a radio DJ sitting in a chair and just playing tunes, So it's really good.
Thank you. It means a lot of things.
Yeah, you and Baton as well. It's great to listen to. And like say country radio now, I mean, okay, we're a community radio at Cat Country as well. But even the community radio now is being focused on because of lockdown. We're getting PR people coming up to us. We do like the BBC, the Radio 2s. We do like the multinationals, but we do also like community radio because you're right in the heart and people listen to you, So it's good. It's music for everybody, isn't it, really?
Definitely. I think, like you say, in radio, having that range now, especially of kind of, like you say, community radio, which is amazing. And also the specialist radio, for specialist genres. And, 7-8 years ago when we started as the Shires, I think there would be dedicated country radio stations, more than one on DAB radio. It was just, it's crazy and brilliant. It just shows how far the genre's come, because we talk about how much is on the rise in general, but actually when you really plot it like that and look at the radio stations and the international recognition now as well, which is a big thing. So I think it's still a really exciting time, definitely.
Oh, it absolutely is, and I hope that I get to see it at C2C as well, and just say hi and see if we can get an interview there as well. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Of course.
Are you performing there?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know at the moment. It's been just getting through this tour is like the first thing, and then it's I hope so. I'd love to. We've had some amazing experiences there. We've done a couple of album launches. We played the main arena. That was the first spotlight stage they did, and incredible. That it's funny. Like when I'm a bit older now than I was then, obviously, and all that stuff. You get in this whirlwind, and the nerves for that day were just unbelievable. But then, as we walked off to be told we'd gone top 10 in the charts, which is something we thought we never would achieve. And then, being backstage, and then Charles Kelly from Lady A comes up and he's sort of, toasting us. And I look back at the photos and I'm just like, wow, Country to Country every year I've been and we've been, has been like a real defining moment in our career or our lives, and apart from having a great time, it is a very important place for me and for us, definitely.
It's just designed well. I think the old O2 Arena, it just lends itself, because obviously around the periphery you've got your satellite stages during the day, and then in the actual main arena you obviously got your big stage, but also you got your satellite stage. Yeah. And then when the likes of Keith Urban play, think, I'll go on the satellite stage because I might get a guitar. Because he just a guitar, But I like say yourself and Chris have been out there many times and actually announcing the next act as well. So it's always been part of your blood, isn't it? The O2.
Yeah, and that was so funny the first time we did that, because that's not something we'd ever done before, and they kind of just thrust it on us last second.
I thought they
did. Yeah, and it was kind of like, oh, okay. And then I remember, I think we were going on just after Chris Stapleton to introduce them. I can't remember who we were introducing, but Chris Stapleton just brought the house down. It was unbelievable, and to be stood in that kind of post-show Chris Stapleton energy was the weirdest thing. But I remember stood behind the massive curtain, and my wife just texted me a to-do list for the next day. She was like, I know you're busy. I know you're at C2C, but can you, and it was literally, can you take the bins out? Can you hoover the thing? And it was again like, I'm listening to Chris Stapleton, like meters from him. I've got this to-do list come through on my phone. So, but no, yeah, hopefully we'll do that again. It's lovely being able to introduce new acts to people, definitely.
Well, Chris Stapleton one, when he did Whiskey and You and all the lights come out. And then after he finished that, walking out just to get a drink or something, but it was just to walk out and everybody was in this like daze. And I looked at one guy and I went, what's just happened?
Yeah.
Because I was physically done, it got me right in the heart, and what was really good, I think, was Eric Church was headlining that particular segment. And I looked across, and there's Chris Stapleton with a bottle of JD watching him.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you're really busy. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Thanks so much, Paul. It was great.
Congrats on the nomination. It's well deserved as normal. And hopefully I might be able to catch you a gig and see you guys on the road. If not, hopefully the C2C. But or we'll see you at the BCMAs. But with everything that you're doing and a new album coming out shortly and the tour obviously continuing, all the very best to you and Chrissy.
Great. Thanks so much, Paul. Always a chat to you.
Stay safe and stay well.
You too. Thanks.